Have you ever had something that you were responsible for go overwhelmingly wrong? Maybe you were performing or presenting something important in front of a bunch of people, and things just weren't working as expected. This caused you to make a bunch of mistakes, and now you look really bad in front of everyone. It's no fun when things go off the rails unexpectedly. It's really embarrassing to fail publicly. And in the moment, every little mistake feels like it's amplified by 100. It can be really hard to maintain or regain your composure in these situations. And frankly, how you respond here is extremely important. It can have a huge impact on whether you turn things around or whether you continue to crash and burn. For a lot of people, I think a common response in these situations is to apologize and explain what's going on. And I get it. You already look bad because things have gone wrong. So it's important to let everyone know what's causing the issue as you try to fix it. Basically, doing damage control. I know this is my default way of dealing with these situations. It's imperative that I explain why things are going wrong as soon as possible. In my mind, the longer that I don't say anything, the more unimpressed and upset people will be. Apologizing for and explaining what's happening is my way of trying to get things back on track. And doing that allows me to hopefully gain back some of the credibility that has just been lost. And yes, how you respond will have a huge impact on how you're perceived. When things go wrong, you look bad. Not responding to the situation or explaining why things happened can make you look even more so. But in these cases, I think a lot of people, myself included, have a tendency to over-respond. They're panicked and stressed and embarrassed from messing up in front of a bunch of people. And because of this, they might over-apologize or over-explain things. Now, I recently saw someone else over-respond to a situation that wasn't going as planned. And it made me realize that over-responding is not a good thing. It can sometimes make you look even worse. And that situation was Grimes' Week 1 Coachella performance. If you aren't aware, Grimes had a recent DJ set at Coachella that did not go very well. There were a lot of technical problems that caused a bunch of issues with their show. Online, many people were calling it a disaster. And unfortunately, I think a big part of that was how she responded to everything that was going wrong. I'll link a video to it up here. Watch at the risk of your own comfort. To be clear, I really feel for her. It's a bit cringe-inducing for sure, but this is an absolute nightmare of a situation to be in. And to her credit, she stops early on and acknowledges that things aren't working properly. She apologizes and explains that she's having technical issues, but she's gonna try to keep going. And luckily, the crowd seemed great and very supportive. But as things continue to go wrong, she stops and apologizes and explains again. And then she does it again and again. She keeps stopping the music to explain why things are going wrong, even when it seemed like they were going fine. She over-apologizes and over-explains. She over-responds. Now, I've definitely done this before too. I've been responsible for things that went wrong and had someone be impatient or upset with me. And I was panicky and stressed about it, and I over-responded. I apologized maybe 4 or 5 times. And in the moment, that's all I felt like I could do. I felt bad for what happened, and that was one of the ways I could show it. Maybe I couldn't fix things right away, but I could at least show them that that's not how I wanted them to be. And so in my mind, over-apologizing was the only way I could make up for things going wrong in the first place. So I totally understand the headspace that Grimes might have been in and don't envy her for it. But as she kept stopping to apologize and explain, I eventually felt like this was starting to work against her. She was over-responding, and this was just starting to make things worse. I started to feel like, hey, you already apologized. We get that things aren't going well. No need to keep explaining, just keep going. And honestly, that was similar to the responses I've gotten when I've been overly apologetic when things haven't gone well. I remember someone once told me, I don't need you to keep apologizing. I need you to fix this. And that's exactly how I felt watching that performance. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that you will sometimes find yourself in situations where things that you're responsible for will not go as planned. In fact, they may go totally wrong, and that may be completely out of your control. But what will be in your control is how you respond to those situations. And if you're not mindful, you may over-respond without realizing it. And again, I totally get it. It's stressful and embarrassing. Messing up in front of everyone triggers a panic response. All your internal alarms are going off. Apologizing and over-explaining might feel like the only thing you can do to fix the situation. But just keep in mind that too much of that can quickly turn into over-responding, and that over-responding can sometimes make things worse. So how should you respond? Well, I actually think Grimes had an excellent response when addressing the issues for the first time. She said, all my tracks are twice as fast, so I'm not mixing very well, but I'm gonna keep trying. And I appreciate you guys being here. That one one statement alone covered so much. It covered her acknowledgement of things going wrong, her explanation of why they were happening, her commitment to keep going, and her gratitude towards her audience. And if she had just left it at that and kept going, her performance may have gone much better. Yes, there probably still would have been some noticeable mistakes, but she already explained why they'd be happening. And if she focused her energy on fixing them and adapting, rather than stopping over and over again to explain them, maybe it wouldn't have been considered such a disaster. At the end of the day, I think most people will empathize with and respect you for working through a difficult and embarrassing situation, but they may start to lose patience with you if you keep over-apologizing, over-explaining, or over-responding. So, if you ever find yourself in one of these situations where you're responsible for something and everything is going wrong, firstly, breathe. Try to get all of your internal alarms under control. You don't want to be guided by your panic and embarrassment. Next, I do think it's important to acknowledge that things aren't going as planned, especially if they're noticeable or obvious. Show gratitude to your audience for their patience and understanding, and reaffirm your commitment to keep going despite the issues. And after that, just do your best to fix things and get through it. Even if you keep making mistakes, just focus on getting through it. Apologize, but don't be overly apologetic. Explain, but don't over-explain. Respond, but don't over-respond. And you'll make it through. Also, if you're able to adopt a mindset of, well, things are off the rails now, might as well have fun with it, I think this will go a long way in turning things around. If you stay super awkward and uncomfortable about the situation that you're in, everyone watching you will feel the same way. And that's how it'll be remembered. But if you can laugh at yourself and take everything that's going wrong in stride, and most importantly, accept that you won't be able to get fully back on track, and instead need to chart a new path forward, I'm certain that you'll be perceived positively. People will remember that you adapted and did what you could in a tough situation with a smile on your face. Things will have gone wrong, but it won't be the absolute disaster it could have been. Anyway, that's it for today. If this resonated with you or you found this insightful, your thumbs up is appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on personal development and self-improvement. And let me know in the comments if you've ever bombed a public performance or presentation before. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.